to the Pad Masters radio show, music, news, and interviews for producers by producers. River West Radio 104.1 WXRWLP. You already know what time it is, man. Y'all, if you watch episode 1, episode 2, you already know we keep only the exclusive people in rotation for this show, man. We want to get insight, we want to get information, inspiration, all the eyes that has to do with motivation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I am your host, Mecca Malo, along with my Milwaukee Pad Master brethren to my left.
Lido.
Elite Tracks.
Describe music.
Let's go. Hey, yo, and just for the record, we got a new a person on the show today, man. Describe, man. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
Feeling good as always, man. No complaints.
Can you just break down to the audience, man? Just at least give a glimpse of what you do, because you're a man of a lot of talents, of a lot of hats, you know what I mean, a lot of occupations. If you can just break that down to the people real quick for us.
Just real quick, you know what I'm saying? I produce, I'm a certified recording engineer, I DJ, I teach all of those things. I also own a company that teaches those things entrepreneurially.
Let's go.
What's up? Drop a bomb for Describe.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yo, today's guest, man, we got, man, so many details, man. This guy right here, man, it's like so many things you could say about our next guest. Episode 3. You know what I'm saying? We got Rafael Capone in the building. Let me just give y'all a little brief intro for this man right here. This man is first and foremost the owner. Built this studio from the ground up with his bare hands, y'all. Soul Asylum Studios in Atlanta, Georgia. If not the biggest, I think it's the biggest studio in Atlanta. If it's not the biggest, it's definitely one of the biggest and most popular studios in the Atlanta city, man. For real. And not only that, he's also, he's an entrepreneur, sound engineer. This guy also is the first and the only black man to own his own line of high quality professional studio monitors, the Soul Asylum acoustics, man. This guy is amazing. And like this, I read his instruction manual, man. I don't have a pair myself. I'm gonna get some, but I read the instruction manual, and the details in this product, man, is just amazing, bro. So this guy is just an engineer on all levels. He's a scientist at this point. He's like, I don't know. He could probably get a job at NASA. Is what I'm trying to say. He could probably, it's possible. Astrophysics, all type of stuff. I'm pretty sure he knows some astrophysics. I'm pretty sure. You know what I'm saying? I'm 9 times out of 10. You know what I'm saying? And also another fun fact: this brother is also the team owner of one of our oppositions, but also our brothers in the National Beat Battle Association, the ATL Track Monsters.
Shout out to ATL Track Monsters all day.
You know what I mean?
For real.
All day Track Monsters, what up?
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, but before we get into this interview, before we dive in, you already know what time it is. At the beginning of the show, Pad Masters News. So now look, we're gonna switch it up because I had something I wanted to say at first, but I think I'm gonna switch up the Pad Masters News today, and we're gonna talk about some studio equipment. We're gonna talk about some production equipment, right? And I was looking at, let me pull it up, man. I was looking at this piece that just came out, man. It's the Yamaha FG DP50 finger drum pad, right? Now you can get this, and you can get it for like $300 at Guitar Center and all that. But what I want to talk about is this. Now, usually, and like I'm gonna show the picture to, if y'all haven't seen it, let me show y'all this.
Yeah.
If y'all haven't seen it yet, you know what I'm saying? If you can go to that and just check out the specs, if you can click on one of those and check out the specs right quick. But basically, this is a new pad. This came out a few months ago.
Crazy.
You know, and it has it has a lot of pads on there, man. It's
Yeah, it
it's
does have a lot of pads.
it's way different from your usual
layout.
60 pad. Like yeah, the NPC layout is mad different from that, you know, especially for the finger drum and stuff.
Or even for the machine layout.
Yeah,
or any of
machine.
Yeah.
The rolling JV and,
Yeah.
and things like that. So it's definitely a different layout. Did you get the specs on that yet, E?
Yeah. Well, I'm just catching all of the pictures or whatever, man. It looked like it's just some audio outs on the back and a USB.
Straight up controller. It looks
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Straight up controller?
It doesn't look like a sampler. Doesn't look like a,
No.
it looks like a controller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looked like just straight out controller.
Boom, boom,
There
boom,
we
boom,
go.
boom, boom. Eight assignable RGB pads. Total of 18 ergonomic drum pads,
Mm.
and those that I just spoke of, the 8 assignable RGBs. Boom.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
hey, I might be wrong. With the renowned Yamaha sound engine providing 1,500 dynamic voices from acoustic drums to modern electronic tones.
Mm.
So yeah, it looks like a sound module.
It already has sounds built into it, you know, and all that
Yes,
stuff, right?
yes,
Like it has stocks. Yeah, man. So me personally, the reason I wanted to talk about this, man, is because, you know, me being a finger drummer myself and me looking at this, and also me teaching finger drumming as well.
Being an actual drummer.
Yeah, I'm an actual drummer. Yeah, it's definitely different. With 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So it still it has 2 more pads than but
Yeah.
it's like as far as the shapes and like on the visual of this, I'm gonna show a picture of it so people can see it too. But you know, me personally, man, just I haven't used it yet, so I'm a reserve judgment fully on it. But I'm gonna just keep it real. I don't like how I look, man.
Right.
Ugly.
You can, I was gonna say, yeah, see the physical look of it. Yeah, it doesn't look appealing.
It just
It doesn't look appealing, but
It
that could
doesn't
be,
look appealing.
you know, somebody in Germany could be using that right
Going
now, probably
crazy.
going
going
crazy.
crazy.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
saw a couple
One-
videos. I was like, okay.
One thing that I thought was pretty cool about it that I had saw is the on the pads how you could choke, the certain notes when you're playing them.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, but you can use the one shot feature and all that up on the NPC as well too, and do
Yeah,
that.
the machine
but
does
the,
that
the
too.
machine does it too.
Yeah,
but
you put them in.
yeah, it's
Nothing special.
it's. I mean, we'll see. We'll
Oh,
see what
you
happens.
can't-
I haven't
you can't
really
knock
seen
it
I'm gonna say,
We'll see
say
what
one,
happens.
let me say one thing.
Yeah.
People look at the Novation circuit like it's a toy,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not.
Right.
So understand, I might agree with you about the appearance of the machine, but I ain't gonna say nothing until I get it in my
Yeah,
hand.
until I touch it. Yeah, I got.
Say you can't knock it.
Yamaha sound, son.
I gotta mess around with it.
I just said physical appearance. That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
It's on the
yep,
physical
yep.
looking at it. You like,
It's different.
but you put your hands on it, you might be like, yo.
So you're saying you can't judge a book by its cover?
Oh, not no more.
You shouldn't.
Yeah. Most
No
definitely.
doubt, no doubt. One more. We finna get into this one last piece of news, man. Now it's not new news, but it's current enough to bring this up on the show right now, man. So I was scrolling down. I ended up in the weird place of YouTube, right? Ended up in like I don't know where I was at, but I ended up in the weird place in YouTube, and I heard a song. I heard a song, bro, an AI song with Pac, Biggie, and who else was that? It was somebody else that was dead. But anyway, Pac and Biggie got a whole album out, AI, and
Yo.
it's crazy. And like, you know what I mean by crazy? It's actually dope, right? Because it sounds just like them, and I felt guilty. Like, then I got scared. All types of emotions.
Yeah, that'll do it.
All types of emotions ran to me. Like I got scared, then I got like, whoa. So how do y'all feel about? Do y'all think AI in music, rather it's in music production, or rather it's in? Because right now they're in. Like, how does that work legally wise? Like, as far as like, what are y'all thoughts on that, man? What are your thoughts? And like also, Rafael, too. I really want your opinion upon this as well.
Look, well, I'll say it first. I'll say it first. I like AI in certain situations, but I can't say I like it to control just everything that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because then I'm not controlling anything. You know what I'm saying? And already, like we think we in control, and are we? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and I ain't gonna space out like that. I ain't gonna go that crazy. But I'm just
But
saying.
no, you're right. Like speaking on the AI, like I don't know if y'all seen, but even on Facebook, like if you're writing up a post, right after the post, you got an option to be able to click like an AI grammar type of, and they'll change up what you wrote to make it sound more professional.
Yeah.
And I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not organic, it's not original. You're using something else to alter
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
you're thinking.
You know, but for generations, people have been saying work smarter, not longer, work smarter, not harder.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is our opportunity to do that. You know, we can get all off into the Skynet Terminator thing. But until we get there,
Yeah.
or until we see a few more signs, I'm gonna go ahead and use this AI to make some videos from an instrumental album, so I ain't gotta pay $500 for an instrumental album video where nobody is doing vocals and there's no real people who are characters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm gonna use this AI to help write grants, but don't
There
get
we
me
go.
wrong, I'm not gonna make the mistakes and leave the prompt in the grant, and I'm not gonna not read
You got to
the
proofread
content that
Yeah.
is from the AI. I've already written company newsletters, helped with sponsorship documents, so I ain't got nothing against AI until I got something against AI. So,
But as far as the music, though, do you
as
have
far
as
as the
far as the
music, I mean, it's something we gotta expect, man. It's something we have to expect.
But how
And
would that work if, like, say, you know, how they got certain songs where you could got AI Drake or AI Biggie, like certain, how does that work if they were to put like some AI stuff and then they took them lyrics and then they ended up writing them and putting them into the music? How do you know?
that's something we're gonna have to cross that bridge when we get to it.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Create some regulations for that. But
Yeah.
what do you think, Mr. Capone? What do you think about the AI situation?
Well, when it started affecting the big wigs, regulations will present themselves.
Most
You know,
definitely.
so so some things, some worries are distractions from what we're working on at the present. I like what you said. We'll get to that when we get to that. Or it's working until it ain't working, and when it stopped working, you'll know because there's going to be politicians involved, there's going to be senators involved, and people going to get their rights protected. But I will be honest. I I use AI lightly now, and I've been writing for 30 years. But if I can literally write something and I'm super busy, and then just let AI proofread it and spruce it up a little, I've done it a couple times. And it still fits into my personality of writing because it still happen to make it. I don't choose you can choose concisively or more loose. I'll choose the loose, so it still feels like something I would say, but it just saved me the mental thought on that, and I can be doing three things at once and tap. I like it, proofread it like you said, and send it out. As far as creative wise, you know, it isn't going to change. To me, it isn't going to change that much because the people who are going to like it wouldn't have liked the really creative people music anyway. It's some people who want dumbed down, simple music, and that AI music be perfect for them. And it's a group of people who want intricate, emotional music that AI can't replace. But everything doesn't have to be intricate and emotional. So there's a middle ground for it. But I can't say I'm for or against it. I'm just gonna exist.
Right.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Let it play its part.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
said. In certain situations, man.
Right.
Go to audiovac.com. Then click on Browse. Use the filter and choose Vocals. Then swap the button to Free. Download free vocals from audiovac.com.
This episode is brought to you by AudioVac. AudioVac.com is a thriving online shop dedicated to music producers, offering audio sounds and samples. With the focus on providing high quality and unique content, AudioVac is a go-to destination for producers seeking inspiration and top-notch resources for their music projects. Explore their extensive collection of sounds and samples to enhance your music production and unleash your creativity. AudioVac.com, where music lives.
Shout out to Audio Vet.
All right, shout out Audio Vet.
This is the Pad Masters radio show, River West Radio 104.1 WXRWLP. Episode 3. Welcome to episode 3. Make some noise, episode 3, man.
Episode three.
We climbing up the ladder. We climbing up the ladder, man.
Third
Yeah,
time's
man.
the charm, man.
Episode 3, we got our,
It seems it is.
no doubt, man. We got our special guest, Rafael Capone, man. Make some noise. What's going on? How you feeling, fam?
Feeling good.
How you feeling, man? Yo, man. So, you know,
Feeling good.
we have a laundry list of questions. You got a laundry list of questions. First and foremost, I just want to ask you just to kick it off, man. How's life treating you, man? How's business going down there in the A, man?
Life is good, and you know, business is good. The multiple businesses I run, from the Soul Asylum Studios group and its locations and its team of skilled engineers, to SAS Acoustic Design Firm, which is my design and manufacturing company, and also my red carpet promo tour business, where I tour and educate and get to live my life and the things I like. And I like car audio, I like sound, I like to compete in sound. And those 3 businesses, that 3 again, you know, it's popping in the A.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I heard you talk about Soul Asylum as a lifestyle brand.
Yes.
And you've kind of touched on a few different areas right now. So tell us a little bit more about the vision of Soul Asylum as a lifestyle brand, not just a pro audio brand, not just a sound design brand, not just a monitor design and manufacturer, but a full lifestyle brand. Tell us about that, please.
Well, that goes back to when I was 14 years old, when I decided at that age I wanted to do music. But before I decided I wanted to do music, I was also into custom cars and fashion, you know, and I would be in the D. I'm from Detroit, and I would see dope rides, but you'd only see them once because only the dope boys could afford them.
Mhm.
So I turned to my parents, who had dreams of me becoming a doctor or a lawyer. I said, hey, I'm going to open up a recording studio. I'm going to franchise it in a sense with multiple locations. I'm going to design and build show cars, rent them out to people, and make my own product. Of course, my parents thought I was crazy. At 14, I should be wanting to play baseball and things like that. But I had my life set out and what I wanted to do. And once I got them going, I segued them together. You know, like I built my first $100,000 show car in the 90s, and I used that to get business from my recording studio in 93. Because if you saw a hot whip and it was legal and you saw it a lot, you became a fan of it. And if I played music out of it, there was a very extensive system. I hate to say it, you assumed I recorded it and mixed it.
Right.
And so I was able to get you into my mom's basement because you like the vehicle. And that's a lifestyle. Car customizing is a lifestyle.
Yes.
You know, and music recording was going to be my career. Now, was I good in 93? Nope. But that vehicle was dope. So I had to get better. As they say, pee or get off the pot. I had to get better to keep up with my own vehicle build that was, you know, famous to the city. So if you transition that into later, once I had a foothold of success in the music business, now it was time to push the lifestyle more because people respected me on the music side. So I was able to now get corporate sponsors to pick up the vehicle side and build more vehicles and rent them out for TV and film. And so that expanded where we just wasn't a recording studio. We were a lifestyle brand. And then people partnered with us. You know, so now you got like an Apple or Adobe, like, hey, we want to put this in front of some people. And this is before the social media influencer, in front of some people. And so they see it at Soul Asylum Studios, and the TV networks would come there and film, and it'd be product placement, you know, and that was my lifestyle brand. You know,
I'm sorry to cut you off, but just for the record, just can you let us know how many car show championships they have you won? Perhaps you can let us know how many of those.
Yeah, I want to hear about that.
I know the answer. If you tell the audience,
I need to know this.
Well, I'm a 3 times world champion in sound quality and lighting, but when I'm on a show season, I'll see 3 to 5 million people a year at car shows, and I'll win about 300 trophies a year. You know, I can go to a show and come home with 19 trophies. One show. I can come back with 19 trophies from one show. You know, where it's like
where you
they
put all
call my
these
name to where
trophies?
I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, where are you putting the trophies at?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I was throwing them away every year. Then somebody let me know. Then somebody let me know, hey, you can donate them. So now I donate them.
Oh,
But
that's
I literally every year I don't have the space.
right.
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 Like
A lot
that.
of trophies.
Since you was in the building rooms, I'm like, did you build you a room for them trophies?
So we do have at my this decade theme location, I have a custom car garage that I built into it. And it has a whole wall of some of my most exclusive, notable trophies. But we threw away 300 trophies to get to the 80, I think, that's tiered and backlit on the wall. So when you walk in, if you don't look, it just looks like art. But then when you look, they're actual, top
Curated
trophies.
collection of your
Yeah.
trophies.
Yeah.
So,
But it all ties together. I want to say when people think the car show thing, it ties together. If I do a car show, I'm getting a soft sale, and when people don't understand hard sales, if I advertise and my competitor Tree Sound and Patchwork advertise, people look for the cheapest price. But if I'm out in the streets and you see this huge build that's award winning and you ask me what I do, I say, oh, I'm a mix engineer. You'd be like, oh, I want to work with you. You didn't ask me price. You like the vehicle. You like the build. You like me and my people.
Right.
And you shop. And I've done a show where somebody said, yo, my grandmother got this flyer 3 years ago. And she held on to it. And I was talking about music and she gave it to me. And they ended up being a client for years. And that's that soft sale where I'm building connections through people who weren't looking for recording.
Right. Still networking.
and so
Yes.
you're talking product placement, you're talking vertical integration, you're talking
Yes.
cross promotion.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even sound like you ever created a public service for these car fittings, the lights and the sound. That was just straight in-house and benefiting you and your company, correct? Not even for the public.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So when I built my first vehicle in 1990 and I dedicated it to the city of Detroit, it was called the Motown Soldier. The city loved it. And then I opened up a studio. How could the city not,
Mess with you. Yeah.
mess with me?
Yeah.
Because they would call me to go to parks because you could hear this system like 5 blocks away. So they would have me at Belle Isle playing sound. And then when it's time done with that, I met some people to take home and record, and then to stay ahead of the auto game, I had to learn lighting. I had to learn this. So I would integrate it into the builds where I became not a leader of that, but it would help my music business if I was ahead on the car customizing game, and I wasn't sponsored in the beginning. I wasn't having people throwing stuff at me, but it didn't matter because it was boosting my business and boosting my sales. I didn't mind spending 60 grand customizing a car because I could spend 60 grand advertising Soul Asylum, but then you still hard sell seeing who's the cheapest. So it just works, and it worked for 30 years.
Okay, I got one more question before I turn it over to some of my interviewing brothers here. But I just want to know, at 14, who or what did you see that allowed you to think this way? And I have to talk to people when I'm teaching them about equipment and just music production on a small scale and letting them know that where we from, we'll most likely have to adjust your scale of thinking when it comes to what's expensive and what's not.
Mhm.
So as a young black boy growing up in Detroit, which we know, one of our few chocolate cities previously,
Yeah.
what did you see? Was it a family member? Was it moms? Was it an uncle? Was it pa? What did you see that made you think this big, man?
Good question.
Well, that's a little complicated because my business mind didn't start at 14, just my creative mind and passion for wanting to do music. I had a candy business at 8 years old. My parents made me get a paper route at 11, so I come from a blue collar working family. I don't come from a business family, but I come from, and when I say blue collar, we were poor. So it ain't just blue collar now where that's the middle tax bracket, but we were just workers. Like I had chores as a child, and as an infant, I had chores,
wow.
And them chores didn't get me things. And I wanted things. So at 8, I started a candy business and I had my first employee because I couldn't defend my business. So I had to hire a bodyguard.
Wow.
And I paid him through candy because, of course, he was a big fat kid.
Right. Already.
But that taught me commerce, and that taught
Mogul
me
mind state.
management.
Right. Mogul mind state.
Wow.
You know, so I was just blessed to just have that vision, you know. And then at 14, a little bit before 14, well, if I jump around, I was introduced to music from a cousin because he had a system in like the 80s that blew my mind, but it was trash, but it was music. And then my dad had a system. And so music always meant something to me, and I didn't understand it. I'd rather be around music than people. So I thought I was antisocial, but it wasn't. There was no music outside. It was always inside. So I followed the music. But at 14 is when I decided I wanted to do it as a career. And that's when I put my ducks in a row and being business minded. You know, I wasn't hustling. I wasn't a dope boy. So I made my friends get paper routes, but I didn't make them. I coerced them to get paper routes because I sold them on, hey, let's do music. Hey, let's book studio time. Hey, let's do these things. And they were all down for it. And at 14, we were in studios at $2.45 an hour with paper route money.
Wow.
Let's
That's
go.
yo.
Beastie.
Right. Let's go.
Yo,
Let's go.
yo.
Me-
Not
been my
even
life.
just to have that vision, but to be able to have the leadership to build a pyramid scheme with the homie.
For real, though.
Hey, but hey, can I tell you this? We did get offered a record deal. You know, at 14.
At 14.
At 14.
At 14. My parents wouldn't sign the contract though. It was a bad contract, bro. My parents wasn't for it because they did not want me to do music. So I don't want to mislead you and think I had this perfect life.
Right.
I was a pariah of the family because I wanted to do music. I was seen as a lazy bum who didn't want to take responsibility
Wow.
for having a real job. And
Yeah,
I'll be honest with
right.
you.
Because
Ooh, I know. Like,
listen, I think
It's real.
yeah, it's really real. It's
Yeah,
really
y'all
real.
speak on that. Y'all speak on that.
Yeah, because no, I know for a fact, you know, my mom, you know, and my pops, you know, my pops was a musician though, you know what I'm saying? Like he had a band and everything like
Oh
that.
wow, nice.
You know what I'm saying? So that was the thing that I came up seeing. I saw that part of my pops like, and that was already, you know, that was super cool. So if I told him I wanted to do music, he like, go on here, son.
Right.
You know, that's the whole thing. Pops was about it. Mom's was like, she was the one that was like, you need a real job.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she was all about that. She was like, that DJ and stuff ain't gonna get you nothing.
Yeah.
That you sitting in the room making them beats all day, getting on my nerves because that, you know, turn that stuff down, all of that, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, things change, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, you know, rest in peace to my mom's if she looking at me right now, like, boy, you all right. Okay.
Well,
You did something.
it's real. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, my mom was against it. And so, and I told her this is what I was going to do. And they say, well, you're going to get no support. So at 15 and 3/4, I went down and took the Army ASVAB test to join the military. So when I graduated high school, I could go in the Army, get enough capital to come out and start Soul Asylum Studios because my family was against it. And my mom, may she rest in peace, and she became my biggest fan. But when the recruiter brought me home, and he told her that I had took the ASVAB test to sign up for the military, she lost her mind. My dad had went to Vietnam. He had got hurt in Vietnam. She kicked him off the porch. So from 15 and 3/4 to 17, me and my mother didn't talk in the same household because she had to sign because I was going to graduate high school at 17 and a half. So she had to sign for me to leave, and she would not sign and she would not talk to me because she did not want me going into the service so I could pursue this career in music.
Right.
Needless to say, at 17, after my dad came to her and was like, hey, he's going to go anyway. You and your son haven't talked for years in the same house. What if something happens and you lose him? And she actually signed and I was able to leave. And I went in the military. I got out and I opened up Soul Asylum Studios.
That's where the capital came from.
But no, there was no capital.
There wasn't. Oh, there still wasn't.
Because when I got out of the Army, I didn't have no capital. All I had was a GI Bill that gave me $10,000 to pay for recording school.
Okay.
Right.
Where'd you
So
go?
if you want to know where the $17,000 came from to start Soul Asylum Studios,
Yes.
somebody stole my show vehicle, stripped it. I found the vehicle. State Farm said, we're not paying for that because I was with State Farm.
Right.
I was like, yo, this was really this. They didn't believe my receipts. And so I'm fighting with State Farm for 2 months. So State Farm scheduled me for a meeting. I go down to State Farm for a meeting. A little kid is in the lobby like, oh my God, that's the Motown Soldier. Hey, Dad, this car I was telling you about at the car shows that everybody surrounds.
Right.
State Farm cut me the check right after that.
Wow.
So that's God.
Yeah,
That's
I was just
God,
going to
bro.
say, look at God.
Wow. Yeah.
Look
That's
at God.
God. And I took that $18,000 and I bought a Roland S750 sampler. I bought a Mackie 16 channel console. I bought a DAT tape, a Tascam 8-track machine, and a Lisa's, I think it was a Lisa's SR16 drum machine
Oh,
Yeah.
in 1993. And that's what I started with. And that
wow.
was $18,000. Them 4 or 5 little pieces, because
Wow.
gear was expensive back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So here's one too, so, you did things so young, you had the mind anyway, like you said, you had the mind at 14. Was there
Yeah.
any teachers, any professors or anything like that later on down the line that, that connected with you or, kind of pushed you to do even more? You know what I'm saying? You already had, it seemed like you had the motivation already, but was there anybody that was the elder at the time that said, hey,
Like try
I
to push
believe
you
in
in a
you. I
certain
believe in you.
direction.
You're going
No,
to do something.
no. Unfortunately, that's why I help so many people now, because I know what it's
Wow.
like to not have help. So when I jumped in the music game, I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a business coach, and you think about it. I left Detroit and came to Atlanta. I don't know. I was a scallywag or a carpetbagger or whatever you call it. I was an outsider
Right.
coming to the city.
Yankee.
So
Right.
one thing I left out, I thought my GI Bill was going to pay for recording school. But when I got out of the military, there were no full sales or SAEs. So I ended up going to a school called Specs Howard, the School of Broadcasting Arts.
Okay.
And I thought it was going to teach me recording. It taught me to speak how I'm speaking to you now.
Right.
It was a
Oh.
broadcasting arts school.
Right.
So it
Right.
taught me to pronunciate.
Yep.
It taught me how to project my vocal and my voice. And I was crushed because I was there for 2 years
Right.
and I never
Right.
learned what phantom power was. I didn't know what a microphone was. So even when I bought that gear, I didn't know how to use it. So I spent all my time at Barnes and Noble reading books, and I was self-taught through experimenting. And even when I got to Atlanta, no engineer connected with me because they all worked for somebody, and I opened up my own studio.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I couldn't get a peer or an OG in a sense,
Yeah.
but all the OGs work for somebody, and I started my own thing, and by the time I hit Atlanta, I had a tape machine, a 2-inch tape machine in an apartment mixing with a Soundcraft Studio Master and way, nicer gear.
Yep.
But I didn't have that. And does it make me angry or bitter? No, it might have helped me because most people steer you to the group or to the crowd. And so labels never locked me in with purchase orders because I never had somebody walk me in to the label. And if I tell you about my 30 years of Soul Asylum Studios, I took my first purchase order 2 years ago. And I've done a lot of label work, but I wasn't taking POs. They was having to pay me up front.
Yeah, I hear that. No, the POs, that's serious.
POs put you out of business. No disrespect, but
Right,
you
but I
you
get
doing
it.
work and you wait to get paid 90 days and
Yeah.
you're doing a lot of work, you literally living off of loans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man.
You are.
Yeah. No, I know. And that's because a lot of businesses do, POs, you know what I'm saying? It's there, but it's like, yeah, they got this long to pay. So I see what you're saying.
Net 90. Oof.
You'll be out.
Yeah.
Be out
And
on-
what, net 90 ain't late until it's 90 days past due. So to
Yep.
me, a net 90 is a net 180.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is. It
it's
is.
a whole
That's
one.
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's why
So
with
no,
my
we
little company, I
never
be net 15 in them.
to this day, Soul Asylum Studios still requires all payment up front to do anything.
Beautiful.
So I don't care if you Apple, you Warner Brother Music, you Atlantic. Unfortunately, for us to give you the quality and the safety and the experience, my people work better when they know they're getting paid in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I hear that.
So love it or leave it, it is what it is.
Mhm.
So when you got back to when you say when you got the little settlement for the 1,800 or 18,000, when you started um you grabbed all that equipment, right? Where did you start recording out of? Was that
in,
part of did you
in my
use
mother's
that?
basement.
Oh, you started recording in your mother's basement?
Yeah, in my mother's basement. My sister had a room that had a closet, and I took her room and made it my control room, and I took her closet and made it my vocal booth. But let me tell you, the clothes were still up on the rack. You
Yeah.
know, so if you walk in the closet, there's
Treatment.
Hey,
still
I just
clothes
was
on
just
the
saying,
rack and a
that's treatment.
microphone. You know, and my first client was a famous stripper, and she was, when I say she was famous, how these YouTube strippers are now, or Facebook, the city was enthralled by her, and she was my first client, and she could not sing, but she was pretty,
Oh yeah.
and she was older, and I spent all my time making her sound good, you know, but she had a huge following. So that got me business because she was on TV in Detroit. We had a dance show called The Scene. So she was on TV. And then I lucked up and she became my girlfriend. But I didn't care about that.
I looked
But that
up and
put me
she
everywhere
became my
she
girl
was.
too.
That put me
That's
everywhere she was. So it just
Right.
kept my business.
Business.
You can't pay for that type of marketing and
Right.
pub,
Talk about
you know,
No.
product
especially if
placement.
music is your
Yeah.
passion,
Right.
Talk about
you
product.
know.
He's
So
definitely
God,
placing the product.
yeah, and when she left me, which was fine, she married a famous football player. So that lets you know the level she was on. But
Right.
Yeah.
she walked me to that level, and I didn't have to hustle. I didn't have to be in the
Oh,
streets. I didn't have to be in the clubs. You know, I got to stay in the studio. And if you came to Atlanta, you might say, "Hey, I've never seen you." Still to this day, I'm not in clubs. I'm in the studio.
right. Yeah, man.
Mhm.
You know, and if I'm not in the studio,
Working.
I'm out somewhere marketing that's contrary to the music business. So if I'm in the music business, why would I go to a music business event? I'm going to go to a boating show, a camping show, a such and such, because all them people going to have a kid or a family member who aspires to do music,
yeah.
and they have influence in finance. And
Yeah.
I got a booth set up there, and I'm soft selling all over again.
Yep.
Mhm.
You know, so,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, thinking out of the box. So, but no, I started in my mother's basement. And yes, she kicked me out. That's how I ended up in Atlanta.
Oh,
Right. So we loop back around to that one, you
Back,
know.
back to
Yeah.
another
She wanted
script.
me out, bro. She was like, yo,
how
I'm
long
big.
did that last before before she wasn't having it no more?
Well, well, 2 years.
2 years?
But I will say, she didn't ultimatum me. She kept saying, I thought you were going to move to Atlanta.
Oh,
I
okay,
thought you
okay,
were going to
okay.
move to
Right.
Atlanta.
Mhm.
So then,
I
yeah.
was like, Ma, I just had a baby. I think I should stay here. She's like, yo, you can take care of the baby from Atlanta.
Right.
She's like, you can support that baby from Atlanta.
Right.
Mm.
And I was like, okay. And I literally left the next day, the day after my son was born.
Wow.
I moved to Atlanta in 95, you know. And one thing I can say, 8 months later, his mother called me and said, hey, come get him or I'm putting him up for adoption.
Mm.
And I went and got him. And I raised him in the business. So when people tell me this is hard, I can't buy
Wow.
your excuses.
Shouts out to you.
But
Wow.
Let's go.
Shouts out to you, definitely.
For sure.
appreciate it.
Hard.
You
Yeah.
know,
For real.
but
No
but but but,
excuses.
No
but
excuse.
I only mentioned it to say that no excuses.
Mm-hmm.
If I can move to a foreign city, get a 9 month old, run a business. He's like 27 now, graduated college and everything.
Wow,
Mhm.
that's what's up.
You can do it if you all you got to worry about is your studio. Because you know, can you imagine a newborn baby in the studio
Mm.
and Toomp is trying to produce and you like no smoking?
Right.
Because I
Yeah.
got a baby in the
The
studio
baby.
in a car
Right.
seat,
Yeah.
Right.
you know. So it set up all of the things that be. But no, mom wanted me gone,
And,
you
and
know.
Right,
But I
right.
made it 2 years in her basement.
No doubt, no doubt. Hey, yo, you're now in tune to the River Rush radio show, the Pad Masters radio show, 104.1 WXRWLP. You already know what time it is. Episode 3. We got the one and only Rafael Capone. So look, man, I got a couple questions to ask you actually, man. I'm gonna start off with just, just me knowing you and me knowing just the hard work and individual you is. I just want you to just tell us a little bit about the process you took on building Soul Asylum Studios from the ground up, man, from your bare hands. Like I know the story. If you can just kind of just take us through that journey right quick, bro?
Well, I want to give you the true story as short as I can.
Okay.
I build, I design, I pick the wood, the doorknob handles, and so on and so forth. But in the beginning, I didn't. I was a true recording engineer, and I was a true D boy from Detroit. And that just means a Detroit boy, fresh. I had never touched a drill in my hand. My sneakers was $200. My jogging suit was $300. So if I'm sitting at the console engineering for you in the 90s, you thought I was an artist because I was the fly engineer.
Yeah.
But I wanted my own location, and I ran into a guy named William Will. He called himself Will Power.
Willpower. I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was a Mars studio builder and a salesman. And so I saved up 50 G's. And so not the Willpower you talking about is just a musician. I'm talking about there's another Willpower
Oh,
that's
okay.
low key, that's way older, that
Okay.
worked for George Clinton, worked for TLC. He's a
Wow.
crazy engineer. But back in the 90s, he was building studios. So I saved up 50K and had him build my first custom studio. And unfortunately, he didn't finish it. And halfway through, situations got to where I had to be there every day. So I'm running the studio at another location in the loft, and then my first custom studio, the first Soul Asylum Atlanta, 1999. So now I'm there. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? So by the time they didn't finish it 60% of the way, I had to learn to finish it.
Wow.
That was God, because that became SAS Acoustic and Design Firm. Because once I finished that studio, I picked up Def Jam South, I picked up David Hollister, I picked up all these people, and they liked the studio vibe, but that was literally me building it as a novice, but understanding acoustics from my Barnes and Noble reading. So I always built studios different from 1999, thanks to that Will. And me and that Will are now and have been for 2 decades best friends. And people say, you still friends with him? If it wasn't for him, I'd still just be an audio engineer. I wouldn't be a fabricator and a designer and a builder, So I have to say, give me the shortest spiel. And from that, I built studios for Selena Johnson, for so many people, and I built all Soul Asylum locations since 1999.
Wow.
And I don't care if it's 13,000 square feet. I don't care if I had to build a second floor. I don't have to care if I had to extend the building to the street. I do all of that because of an experience in 99.
Wow. So, hey, yo, so my next question, bro, and like also, man, congratulations on everything, because you got one of. I actually been to your studio when I was in Atlanta, man.
The lab.
Actually, let me tell a story about that. Actually, just a segue. I was in it. I was actually in his. Actually, you was building some stuff there too. I think you just got the movie theater part done.
Yep, I was building the theater.
Just building the theater. So look, let me just give y'all just when you walk in, right?
Yeah.
It's first of all, it's a car show in the studio. You know what I'm saying? You got a car in there with the speakers, the Pimp My Ride joints. You know what I'm saying? He got like 5 Pimp My Ride, and then so you walk in there, right? And then he got a fitness center.
Wow.
In the studio.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Room. He got all the. I think you got a bedroom in there too. What's going on? You got a.
It's a private apartment.
It's a private apartment and shit.
Oh yeah.
And he also got a portable studio. You got all that stuff. So I actually went there. I was there during. Actually, he's also the team owner of ATL Track Masters. So when they won season 1 National Beat Battle Association Producers Bowl, I actually went out there to actually celebrate with them too. Just hang out. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I mean? That was pretty dope. But which it kind of leads me to my next question. So you built the studio ground up, man, with your bare hands, just entry level, not even having a lot of knowledge on like you say, you haven't really touched the power drill until that moment. So how do you get the understanding you got, and how do you get to the thought process of creating your own line of quality studio monitors? Like, where did that come from?
So the president of Universal Music Group had came to visit us, which why I took my first purchase order. And he was blown away by the facility. And it's like, yo, how do you think of all of this eclectic stuff? And now he's the president, so he's in the music business. And I told him the truth. There is nothing special about me other than necessity is the mother of all inventions.
Mm.
And starting in 1993, I had no investors, I had no money, I had no partners, I had no budget. So I had to generate income or go get a job, So my locations ended up giving me multiple streams of revenue by adding a dance studio. Because think about it, when your studio slowed down during the summer, no, when your studio slowed down during the spring, because now everybody's out performing, mine didn't, because they had to rehearse for the performances.
Yeah.
When your studio slowed down during the summer, mine didn't, because people need to do photo shoots and events, because I have an event space in my studio and I have a drive-in photography studio. So these are things that these are things that allowed me to be able to tell people no. Because, hey, can you mix this album for less? No. Well, you're going to starve? No, because my dance studio is covering while I'm not working here. My photography studio is covering, or I'm booked for this movie. One of my vehicles got booked by Paramount, and it was literally just a 8-hour day, and it paid like $9,000.
Wow.
For a vehicle sitting in a parking lot while they ran cameras around it. So I will tell you, necessity is the mother of invention. Figure out what you need and invent what you need to do. And what I needed was Soul Asylum to go from seen as a home studio to one of Atlanta's top studios. So I had to build it and I had to create it and I had to do it how I could afford it, which meant that's a lot of time at Barnes and Noble learning about acoustics, learning about zoning and construction and electrical.
See,
while engineering.
What? Your brain didn't explode. That's crazy. Like
all the down,
Hey,
all the download.
I got a better one for you.
Uh-huh.
Would you rather have a exploded brain or your stomach touching?
Right.
Good
For
one.
real.
I mean, who wants to go to
bed?
bed hungry, bro? You
For
know what I'm
real.
saying? So I can have mental fatigue and a full belly, or
Who
just
knows?
be comfortable
Yeah, just be-
and
yeah.
be starving.
Yep.
So
I
So
feel
you
that.
do what you have to do, especially if you get around, especially if you don't have any other options, And again, this is another blessing why I didn't have mentors, because a mentor would have been like, "Hey, you shooting too high. Slow it down. Just do this."
Right.
And if some years go by, but there was nobody to tell me that, so I didn't believe it couldn't be done, and so I just tried and
Yeah.
tried and tried until it manifested itself.
There you go.
I got one more question. I know I brought it up a little bit, but but like I said, you're also the team owner of the ATL Track Monsters, which we you know, I'm not ashamed. We haven't figured out how to beat them yet, but I think we came close a couple times. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it came close.
You came
But
close a
they
couple times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
we
But
killed
can you like talk about your experience with like the some of the greatest dudes that I've gotten the chance to know, like
yeah.
Rap Rich, man, and Hannibal and them brothers, man, and
Oh,
Reaching them
beast.
brothers, man.
They
You
the
know what I
best.
mean? If you can just talk about that for a second.
Yeah. And first, I want to put the last end on that prior question. So my monitors came from necessity. I wasn't hearing what I wanted to hear. I wasn't feeling what I wanted to feel. So I spent 10 years making my own monitors. Because if I'm mixing a record and it's a emotional record, but I'm working on my Yamaha NS10s, which are very scientific, I can't feel the vocalist and feel the music. And even if I add a sub, I have to turn to you and say, "Hey, I know it sounds like this, but it's going to sound better in your car." I wanted to develop a monitor that was more musical, that the way it sounded in the room was the way it sounded in your car, and it translated. So that was my necessity. My invention came from a necessity of needing to hear more and feel it. And I invested in that, and it took me 10 years to do it. Now, the ATL Track Monsters, yeah, killers. It is an honor to work with Hannibal, Be Rich. The Track Monsters remind me of what Soul Asylum is. Elite. Made elite. Not hype elite. Hours and years and months of commitment and practice and so on and so forth. So for me to become an owner of that team, I at first initially was not interested. It was no, because I believe you are who you are attached to. I believe if I'm on 1,000, but somebody's only on 500, I'm going to have to slow down to communicate, because if they can't get to 1,000, how do we communicate?
Right.
So I was reluctant, but when I got to review the people and saw they had the same drive and passion and exceptionalism that I created for myself, yeah, I became an owner. And the boys, the truth,
Nice, man. They're
but they
nice.
put in
A lot. They're nice.
10,000 hours.
Nobody knocking it. No, not at all.
Put in them outlier hours, them
Yeah,
10,000
10,000
Malcolm
hours is
Gladwell hours.
minimum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, we only lost against 2 teams, man. One of the teams we beat, you know what I'm saying? The other team we didn't beat. Yeah, so yo. Still though, shout out to them brothers, man. Brothers,
Yeah.
No
Can,
doubt.
can I ask you a
Hey,
quick
and the
question?
Pad Masters is nice. I mean,
Hey,
think about it.
Salute.
And who's to say if the league hadn't dropped back? Because the saying goes, and it's real. If Jordan played me in some one-on-one, he's probably going to score 10 points because he ain't gonna have to work as hard. But if he play Kobe, he's going to work hard. So your level comes up to who you're competing with.
Yeah.
No
You know what I'm
doubt.
saying? So who's to say if it wouldn't have kept going, the things that could happen, because everyone gets better by their competition.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I teach that when I'm consulting for people for business. I'm like, hey, who's your competition? They say, I don't have none. I was like, pick somebody. If you can pick somebody that's out of your level, okay, then I'm competing with Lamborghini. Perfect. Watch them for a month. Whatever they doing, you got to figure out how to do within your budget. So if they advertising at tennis meets, you should be advertising at tennis meets. If they're literally in a movie and you think that car so happen to be there, who's to say that they didn't pay to have that in that movie or on that TV show? That's where you need to be. Because if you want to compete with them, you have to be seen as them.
Yeah.
So going back to the track masters, Pad Masters against the ATL Monsters, everybody was bringing everybody up if everybody was elite. And if those that wasn't elite, they have to get better and better and better because of that competition level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just real quick, man. I heard you mention your monitors being musical.
Mhm.
So talk to me about, and also mentioning NS10s, if it sounds good there, sounds good anywhere. I got a pair of NS10s, and the Yamaha these days, are modeled after, at least appearance wise, with the white cone
Appearance-wise.
box. But let me know something about the frequency response of your monitors. If you're talking about they're musical and they're not as flat as the NS10s, tell me about
Well, hold on.
not
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
I
they may
didn't
not
interrupt
be
you.
flat. You're right.
So my monitors are truly flat.
Okay.
They're flat from 30 hertz to 40 kilohertz, but they play down to 10 hertz. Now let's break that down. Let's just say the NS10 is somewhat flat.
Right.
The materials make that flat harsh. The type of drivers they use gives you ear fatigue. How the tweeter performs has a ring and a ping, and it's beaming, so you become exhausted. I use air motion transformers, which they don't create any ear fatigue, and they play down to lower frequencies. So you're going to hear more of the music, even from the tweeter, going down to the mid-range, going down to the woofer, because I do active four-ways. So I have a dedicated subwoofer. I have a dedicated woofers. I have dedicated metallic mid-range, and then I have air motion transformer with a custom-made proprietary waveguide, which disperses the sound in a way that you have a larger stereo field, so more people in the room can also connect with the music instead of saying, hey, let me sit in an engineering spot. And then the choice of materials, Kevlar, some people, paper, understanding materials. A paper woofer sounds amazing on strings. A Kevlar woofer is very rigid, so it'll start and stop, so you get the dynamics of good mid bass, but you got to give one to the other. But what if you blend?
Right.
You end up with something that can
so
play
is that
both.
what you? So what? See, don't see. You ain't giving specifics now. But what if you blend materials and get to something?
I'm just saying.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have a different conversation with you later on. I see this already.
We literally introduced new technique and technology to the industry in 2019. You heard him speak about my manual. I only dropped my manual because big bank takes little bank. And if you read my shirt, it says Black Tech Matters.
Yeah.
Because this is
That's
true
a dope
Black
shirt
Tech.
too, by the way.
That's dope.
Thank you. It's the truth though. Black Tech Matters.
Yeah,
And,
no,
you
it
know,
really
we don't get the investment. We don't get the funds. You know, if they gave out 89 billion in venture capital last year, 0.1% of Black people got it. You know, and it's expensive. You know, but I dropped that manual because I knew I was going to be copied, and I needed proof for my online manual to show what nobody doing this before. Now everybody is doing it now. You know, and a lot of companies copied us. A lot of companies then redid this and changed this and switched to this, and
I mean,
they had a patent on this.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you this time, but I have noticed a company or two that may resemble some of your designs. I don't want to speak on that, but I'm just saying.
Well, but I want to talk about that openly. If you're talking about Barefoot,
Yep.
believe it or not,
yeah.
no, Barefoot.
You said you said.
Yeah.
Barefoot was out before us.
Yeah.
You know,
This is true.
so Barefoot was out before us, but he didn't create the dual opposing subs. That comes from the car audio world, and it comes from home theater. He just put that cylinder in there and patent that, but you don't want to put them two together and hit play. You're going to be disappointed with all that patent extra. But I'll say, you know, you got a NASA scientist versus an audio engineer making the product. I'm on the ground level daily. I'm like the haircut president. I use my product.
Yeah.
I didn't get some money and get the board together. And I'm not speaking down on anybody. However you get it. But you're talking passion, understanding real world results. So that dual opposing sub is our only similarity, because there's no way I could do what I needed with the space of having 4 drivers in one thing, than going with a cabinet that comes from car audio. And I'm big in car audio since the 90s.
Yeah, and we run low on time, so I just wanted to make one more comment. I never heard of any, whether it be monitor, headphone, or nothing, going down to 10. I've heard of going down to 20 hertz, but I have not
exactly
of anything going down to 10 hertz. So I didn't know that goes.
And we're talking near field
without being noticed. Yes,
right.
Yes.
And we're talking near field, so you mix on those, and not only that, the average speaker flattens out about 75 dB.
Right.
We come on flat. So you can be working at 30 dB and you're hearing 10 hertz, 20 hertz. You're hearing all of the frequencies, so you can work longer. Because when you can hear more, you can do more.
Yes.
So the SM25, my brand is special, and we literally are the first Black-owned design and manufacturer in the world. This is true. We brought out the first bass bypass system. So my system is a 4-way, but you hit a switch, DSP reprograms it, makes it a 3-way. It cuts off the woofer and reprograms the subwoofer to play the 30 hertz of the woofer. So much technology that's developed that it just gets overlooked. But we coming. We 5 years on the market, and we got more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
No doubt.
Soul Asylum.
Hey, yo, before we go, we got like 1.5 more minutes. Before we go, man, can you just let us know what's next, real brief, for Rafael Capone? No, if you can, because you got a lot going on.
Yeah, I'm working on a new line of monitors called the Atmos 7. So I'm trying to make affordable. In one of my rooms, I have $80,000 to do a 9.16 Atmos system. And this room here, I have like 40,000. I'm trying to create an Atmos system for $6,000, and it includes the sub.
Wow.
So, and it's 90% done. It's ready to go to market, but I like to test my product for a year before I release it to the world. So I got like 6 more months of testing, but we dropping a whole new Atmos line for people who don't want to get into Atmos. And I'm dropping separate subs. Of course, Soul Asylum is still expanding. We just built this new location I'm in, but it's not open to the public. We want to take and get people creating more. So just follow us. It's a lot.
Right. That's what's up.
No doubt. Yo, thank you so much. Yo, make some noise for Mr. Rafael Capone, man. Thank you. Episode 3, man.
Amazing.
Pad Masters Radio Show. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, guys.
So
Blessings.